Was this the information that was provided to the journalist who wrote this story, who actually provided that information to the journo?
Senator Jonathan Hudson, Deputy Secretary Enabling Services. Information was provided to the journalist concerned in the Canberra Times by both the department's media team and also by the Minister's office.
What date did the department provide that information to the journalist?
Senator, the department provided the response to the journalist on the 22nd of February.
And what time of day was that?
5:15
PM?
Yes.
And what time did the Minister's office provide that information to the journalist?
I don't have that information, Senator.
Senator Ryan, do you have that information?
No, I do not. Obviously, it's not been my portfolio.
Sure.
The officials are.
So no one in the department's media team. I mean, I've worked in ministers' offices. There's obviously a lot of interaction between ministers' offices and ministers' offices and departments. The media team. There's no one in your media team who knows when the Minister's office provided that information to the journalist?
No, Senator.
Senator, we can take that on notice and ask the Minister.
Could we have an answer on that after the morning tea break, please?
Senator, we'll take
would
it on
only just
notice.
take one phone call. That's not a difficult matter.
Okay, they've said they'll take it on notice, Senator Watt.
And Mr Hudson, do you know whether the department provided that information to the journalist before the Minister's office, or did the department follow up something the Minister's office had said to the journalist, or...?
Senator, if I can just briefly take you through our normal processes with regard to media, which was actually followed in this instance. What normally happens is that the media team receives questions, or sometimes by phone and sometimes in writing. In this case, it was in writing from a journalist concerned. The media team then refers those to the business unit of the department for preparation of an appropriate response. The media team works with the business area to create an appropriate response. In some circumstances, additional clearances are required. In this case, Ms Mussolino provided additional clearances from a legal perspective. The answer is then crafted and approved and then released by the media team.
In the department?
In the department, yes.
And, sorry...
Sorry, I should also say that before we make media statements of almost any sort, we check those with the Minister's office.
Sure, and that occurred in this instance?
Yes, Senator.
And I think you described that chain as commencing with when an inquiry is received by the department's media team.
That's right.
Then those things happen.
Yes, that's right.
So in this particular instance, are you saying that this report in the newspaper emanated from an inquiry from this journalist to the department? He rang up seeking details about this particular individual?
That's the records that we have, Senator, yes.
Right. So the first contact, and when did that journalist first make contact with the department?
On the 21st of February.
And do you have the time?
10:51 a.m.
10:51 a.m. Okay. Just checking something here. So the departmental media team received an inquiry from this particular journalist, Mr Malone, at 10:51 a.m. on the 21st of February, and a response was provided to him ultimately at 5:15 p.m. on the 22nd.
That's correct.
And no doubt there was interchange between them. And when Mr Malone first contacted the department, what was the nature of his inquiry?
He provided to us a series of questions.
Could you table those questions, please?
I take that on notice, Senator.
Are you claiming public interest immunity around that?
He said he'd take it on notice.
No, but we're entitled to...
The questions.
But not when they take it on notice.
So we're going to have this all day, that if there's difficult questions, we're going to be told they're taken on notice?
Senator Watt, having served on your side of the table for many years, the officials are allowed to take something on notice.
Sure.
That's not a claim of public interest immunity. The Senate can determine that when they provide an answer. But I think if they're saying they take something on notice, that's a privilege they're allowed.
I understand that. I sit on another committee, unfortunately, where questions on notice immediately lead to claims of public interest immunity, so I thought it was a good idea to clarify that at the beginning.
Well, they might claim it later. I don't know. But
Senator, we've just checked. We have the questions. I don't know whether they've been a tabling format, but we could give you the nature of the questions.
Would you? How long are they?
Yeah, I'm certainly happy to read you the questions, Senator.
Sure.
Not very long.
Okay, could you do that?
Okay. The questions are... how long does it take on average for a telephone caller with a debt query to get through to someone at Centrelink? In recent months, what is the longest time a caller has had to wait? Is it true that if a person... sorry, I think I'm reading the wrong... That's right? Yeah, okay. Is it true that if a person goes to a Centrelink office, they will be redirected to a terminal and asked to try to solve the problem themselves? What if there is no specific box that relates to the client's complaint? Why is a de facto being chased for her partner's debt in the first place? Surely Centrelink should be chasing the man himself. Isn't this a case of gross incompetence on Centrelink's part? Is it true that people have a 3-minute window when they get to the Centrelink window, as stated by Ms Fox? Is there anything being done to make Centrelink more responsive to its clients' needs? Please do not hide behind the screen of privacy in relation to this matter. You can answer these questions in relation to a general inquiry.
Okay, thank you. And I presume, would you be able to arrange for a copy of that to be tabled, please?
We'll get an extract of that.
We'll get an extract
of
that
sure.
Done for you,
And
Senator.
Mr Hudson,
Yes.
do you have a copy of the response that was provided by the department?
I do, Senator.
Is that in a form that can be tabled?
It's not, but we'll get an extract.
We could give you some flavour. We could read.
Yeah,
it
all
out.
I'm really interested in is the aspects that relate to. I'm not going to use her name, but the individual's personal circumstances.
Okay. The part that relates to the part of the response that relates to the individual's personal circumstances is actually quite short.
Could you read that out, please?
Sure.
We'll use the word individual.
Okay. It is important to note this case is not related to the online compliance system. The recipient's debt relates to family tax benefit. The experience described by the recipient could have been avoided if she had informed the department she had separated from her partner in a timely way and if she had lodged her tax returns in a timely way. These are both fundamental elements of the family tax benefit system, and it's a strong reminder that people who accept government payments are required to fulfil their obligations.
Right.
The rest of the response goes to general matters concerning other matters also raised in the journalist questions.
And do you consider that any of that information that was provided to that journalist constitutes protected information under the Act?
Yeah,
Ms Mussolino?
Annette Mussolino, Chief Counsel. Yes, that is protected information, Senator.
Okay, so that was protected information that was provided to that journalist?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got that straight.
It was protected information provided under an exception which permits the department to disclose that
And
information.
I'll come to that.
So could you repeat that, please? I'm having trouble.
Oh,
hearing.
sorry. Yes, so it was provided under section 202, it was provided under the relevant provisions, which are 202 subsection 2 and 162 subsection 2 of the relevant... That's
subsection 2.
So the relevant sections are section 202, subsection 2 of the... So I'm going to make sure I name the legislation correctly, Senator.
Once it's found.
I just wanted to read it out properly. Oh, thank you. So it's section 202, subsection 2 of the Social Security Administration Act 1999 and section 162 of the ANU Tax System Family Assistance Administration Act 1999. They authorise the release of protected information in certain circumstances.